Transportation Technical Advisory Committee meeting. We have a quorum present, so our first order of business is minutes from October 7th. Are there any questions, comments, or a motion for approval?
Motion to approve, Ryan Fellows.
Ty Adley, second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Hearing none, minutes from October 7th are approved. Moving into reports. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you. In your packet and posted online, you would see all of the administrative modifications that staff processed since the last meeting. If you have any questions about any of those items that have been processed, please feel free to reach out to staff. That is the only update that I have for administrative modifications. The rest of my report will be in the body of the agenda.
Thank you, James. Not aware of any old business. Moving into new business. Our amendments to our transportation improvement program within the Fort Wayne district. Ryan.
Good morning, everybody. We start with resolution 40-20 this morning. This is a locally initiated project in the Fort Wayne district in Napanee. It was for a INDOT awarded project on Woodview Drive. It's termini is State Road 19 to County Road 7 or Oakland Ave. The amendment here is increasing the federal funding amount for construction and shifting it to 2023. If there's no questions in regards to this project amendment, I would ask for your endorsement on it.
Motion to endorse, Ryan Fellows.
Second, David Armstrong.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, resolution 40-20 is endorsed. Moving into LaPorte district.
Yes, we have two items under resolution 41-20. The first, item A, is on State Road 10. It's from Juniper Road just east of Argus to State Road 19. This is a project add to the tip, and it is for an HMA overlay for a structural overlay. We're adding PE and construction into the tip. For item B, this is on US 6. It is from the east junction of State Road 106 to Shawnee Drive in the west part of Napanee, and is also an HMA overlay that's structural. So both item A and B are being added to the tip for the phases PE and construction. I can take questions now, and if there's none, I'd ask for your endorsement.
This is Jeremy Skinner, so moved.
Kyle Sylvius, second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, resolution 41-20 is endorsed. Moving into the staff update related to grants. Caitlin.
Good morning. This is Caitlin. Our MACOG's call for projects for the urbanized area closed on Monday. In total, we received 3 projects requesting additional funding for about $2 million in federal funding. And for new projects, we received about 10 applications that represent about $35 million in federal funding. And so over this next month and a half, we'll be kind of reviewing applications, collecting things like crash data, doing red flag investigations and scoring, and we should have recommendations for selected projects at the beginning of the year. And
you.
then, just as our call is closing, INDOT's rural call for projects is opening up. It opened 2 days ago, November 2nd, and it'll be open until December 11th. I know a lot of you reached out about projects that you're applying for, but if there's any communities that still have projects in mind that you'd like our assistance with reviewing applications, please let the transportation team know.
Good morning. This is Donnie Ritzman. I'll go ahead and give the next update. We've given an informational notice. Okra has announced a new grant opportunity in partnership with the Indiana Division of Disability and Rehabilitative Services. This is an opportunity that's due or made available through the Supplemental Community Development Block Grant coronavirus funds. Okra has set aside $4.9 million for this opportunity. A max award amount would be up to $200,000, but that's not the requested amount that Okra is, advising that everyone submit applications for $200,000. But mainly what I mean is the Indiana Division of Disability and Rehabilitative Services will review those applications to determine the level of assistance that is requested, and will consider the appropriateness of the project scope, the reasonableness of the budget, and demonstrated need. And so they'll further evaluate the award amount. But the objective of this grant is to encourage local unit governments to develop a strategy, including virtual and technology-assisted activities to respond and mitigate to the negative social, economic, and health effects of COVID-19 for the targeted populations of those that are disabled. The opportunity does require a local unit of government to be in a partnership with the qualifying developmental disability organization via sub-recipient agreement. And that organization has to be one that serves those with disabilities in the geographic region of the local unit of government. The grant opportunity is restricted to applicants proposing activities targeted at populations of disabilities ages 18 and over. There is no local match required for this opportunity. Those grants are due by January 10th, 2021. And just a high level of the proposed activities Okra would like to see is activities that address internet access and technology equity, such as providing own settings and public settings, existing internet access points through assistive technology, access to internet cable devices, establishing technical assistance and training programs to increase technology literacy, access to telework opportunities to employers, and then activities that address social isolation and lost access would be developing virtual social circles, pairing with individuals and families and friends to volunteer to enhance social interaction, establish virtual mentorship programs, pairing individuals with business owners, providing virtual emotional support groups, virtual peer-to-peer mentoring. So this is an opportunity to help address those with disabilities who have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, to help them to kind of regain social status. And those grants are due again by January 10th. So if you need assistance, feel free to email me or other MACOG staff, and we'll help you put together an application. And looking forward to it.
Good morning. This is Elena Parrish. I have a quick update regarding the Recreational Trails Program. It is now known as the Indiana Trails Program. It's run through the DNR, and the biggest change that they made is that it's now using it's state funds now rather than federal, which mainly just streamlines the process and does not require as many processes as federal money does once you're awarded. The funding amount remains the same with the 20% match. So that's a $50,000 minimum ask and $250,000 maximum reward. The manual is now on the DNR website, and it also serves as the application. And those are due by March 1st, 2021. If you'd like assistance with this, or if you'd like the manual emailed to you, please let me know, and we'll be happy to help.
So our next update is, so now that we've kind of covered all the the updates related to grants and grant due dates that are coming up, wanted to kind of review some quick program updates with you. So our first update is with the Regional Brownfields Coalition. We just recently have completed our first year of that grant. We've recently had some very good public engagement sessions that were all virtual. There were 2 sessions that were just related to generally the grant as a whole and what we're planning to do with all of those funds moving forward in the next few years, as well as then one recently just last week on the Ward Bakery building in the South Bend area. You'll be continuing to get updates from us related to the Brownfields Coalition grant, and I know that we have recently kind of compiled the number of phase 1s and phase 2s and the total amount of funding that has been provided so far, and kind of based on what we had originally set out as our targets. We're seeing a lot of higher spending in Elkhart County and Kosciuszko County because neither of those counties had recent kind of phase 1 and phase 2 grants. So I believe Elkhart County was more in the like 120,000 and Kosciuszko was in probably about the 40,000 range, but based on some phase 2s that are about to be approved, they'll probably be more towards the 80,000. Whereas St. Joe and Marshall kind of make up the rest of the spending so far. We're probably about 50% spent. And we're very hopeful that after we get done with some great work in year 2 here that we've just entered into, that we'll be looking at an application later this year, about a year ahead of schedule. So if there are any questions, Leah is our primary point of contact with that program, and she's been doing an amazing job. I'm just kind of covering the update for you today. Did anyone have any questions related to the Regional Brownfields Coalition? If not, if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Leah. I know she'll be giving you probably a more updated presentation here soon as we finish off those numbers to show the full impact of year 1. The other item that we wanted to make you aware of is that INDOT is in the midst of an update to their rail plan. They do have a survey that is available online. They are also doing some stakeholder interviews as well. I've been asked to do a stakeholder interview with them, and just wanted to make you aware of that opportunity. This is for both passenger and freight rail. They are updating the plan that guides those investments for those improvements. The last state rail plan was released in 2017, and so they're working through that process. Essentially, what you'll see is that they have an online survey that's available right now. Then they're going to have a committee of rail industry representatives from both the public and private sector that they are planning to meet in the fall of 2020, then February 21 and May 21. And then they're going to be doing these one-on-one interviews to solicit feedback, not only from local governments and MPOs, but also Indiana shippers and freight trade organizations. And that's beginning now, and they plan on doing that through April of 2021. all of that will feed into their process to finalize the state rail plan. Our region is blessed with a lot of rail tracks that run through it and a lot of rail shipments that come out of this area. So we wanted to make sure that you were all informed that the state is looking to update that plan right now, and you can access that rail survey online right now. We encourage all of you to take a look and to try and fill that out. Just wanted to make you aware of that opportunity to engage with the state DOT on this plan.
Thank you, James and MACOG staff for the updates. We now have privilege of the floor. Is there anyone would like to share any information with the group?
Under privilege of the floor, I just had one item that I wanted to talk through real quick. So right now we're in state fiscal 2021. Our obligations have been going pretty well for the state fiscal year for our urban area funds. One of the biggest things that we'll be watching is the letting for Douglas, as it is a larger project and it will consume a large number of our funds. But something came up this year that hadn't really ever come up before. So I want to talk through it with everyone and just make sure that as you're doing oversight on your projects, which I know you all do a great job of, but just this is an important little item. So we recently had a project that had an advice of change, an AC, that was pushed through by the, I assume the CE, and then kind of pushed through by the local government, and then passed through NDOT, came to us. It was a small amount, so it was obligated. But they were doing a check through it with the NDOT district. And it came to find out that they actually had more than enough funds available on open purchase orders right now. And many of us thought that there was a shortage. And so that led to this set of funds being obligated. Everything's been fixed now. So those funds are still, they've been de-obligated and they're still available for us to obligate this year. But the moral of the story is that please be double checking as you're receiving advice of change to ensure that everything has been spent on existing purchase orders, that you don't have excess funds, because this can lead to these weird obligations that shouldn't really occur. And if it hadn't been caught as quickly as it had, we would have lost money, because essentially this money would have gotten stuck in a purchase order, and eventually a few years from now it would have been de-obligated, and it wouldn't have been made back available to us. So if you are having projects that have change orders that eventually turn into an advice of change, that advice of change, you should be double checking. You should be aware of what's triggering that advice of change and agreeing with that advice of change. We're always going to be trying to double check those things. But sometimes you have the latest and best information on your own purchase orders and where they're at. So I don't know if anyone from the NDOT districts has anything else that they wanted to add. This was an abnormal thing. It's the first time in 13 years that I've had a advice of change triggered on a project that actually had plenty of money on it. So it could be very, very much an anomaly, but also just want to make sure that we're doing appropriate oversight and diligence here. So I don't know if there was anyone from NDOT that had anything else they wanted to add.
David Armstrong here. Just like I said, James pretty well covered it, but also I said be aware when they submit that AC to the district, that will result in an invoice to you. So the time to question that is immediate. Actually, you should have your construction engineer inspector review it with you before they submit it to the district. I like seeing you copied so I know that you've done it. If you haven't seen it before, that's as soon as that's submitted, that's the time to say, wait. Don't take action before we send you an invoice, because once we've sent you the invoice, it's mostly a done deal. And that's about it for me.
All right. Yep. So just wanted to cover that with everyone. There's kind of those two trigger points. You know, as that AC is about to go in, your construction inspection firm should be reviewing that AC with you. You should be agreeing with it. And then if that AC is being processed, there's also going to be an invoice that comes with that. So those are both two very important decision points for you to be questioning this advice of change and making sure that it's a warranted obligation. Other than that, I don't have any other updates. We kind of covered everything else. So I'll turn it back over to you, Jessica, and see if there are any other privilege of the floors.
Is there anyone else who would like to share information with the group? Hearing none, James, for our public comment section, did we have any public comments submitted prior that we need to enter into the record?
We did not have any other, we did not have any public comments that were submitted prior to the meeting. As is our policy right now, we ask that folks email that ahead of time to our MACOG DIR email, and we have not received any.
Okay, with that said, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
Brent Warren, so moved.
Tim O'Donnell, second.
Motion in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.